All right. We are live. So welcome everyone to this evening's City Council meeting of August 10th, 2021. I can't believe it's the middle of August already, but anyway. In the interest of the government transparency with regarding deliberations and decisions made by the City Council and according to open meeting law, since the meeting was posted as a Zoom meeting, this meeting is being recorded by video and audio will be conducted by remote participation. Additionally, all votes taken by the City Council during this and future remote meetings will be by roll call vote. If you are calling on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you are watching on a computer or a device, there is a raise hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications to be recognized to speak. Additionally, all votes taken by the City Council during this and future remote meetings will be held by roll call vote. So once again, if you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. And if you're watching on a device, there's a raise hand button. Use these two prompts to request to speak during oral communications and public hearing. So in attendance tonight, I'm going to start at my top left-hand corner. We have Councilor Pett. We have myself, Councilor LeBlanc. We have Councilor Gilman, Councilor McCarthy, Councilor Holmgren, Councilor Cox, Councilor Nolan, Councilor Memhard, and Councilor O'Hara. Also in attendance, we have our CFO, John Dunn, our City Auditor, Kenny Costa, and our City Clerk, Joanne Sinos. All right, with that being said, Madam Clerk, can we have the next order of business, the first order of business, please?
The first order of business is oral communications.
All right, so before we start oral communications, I have a quick announcement. The public shall have the opportunity at every regular scheduled meeting to be heard under oral communications on matters not appearing on the agenda. Oral communications shall allow any resident who has a request or complaint of any nature relative to city business to appear before the council, state their problem without debate, and the matter shall be referred to the proper agency through the office of the mayor. The resident will be notified within 2 weeks period relative to disposition of same, and a copy shall be forwarded to the City Council. Persons speaking under oral communications shall be limited to 3 minutes each, and the council president shall not allow complaints as to individual performance. All right, under oral communications, if anybody would like to speak, press *9 or raise your hand. Karen, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Steve. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can we have your name and address for the record, please?
Yes. Karen Cavazza Spencer, 67 Langsford Street. Earlier today, I sent you councilors an article on disinformation and fluoridation. If you haven't read it yet, I hope you'll read it later tonight or tomorrow. Please notice it contains links to several peer-reviewed studies conducted by distinguished experts that were published this year in reputable medical journals. The gist is that even low levels of fluoride in drinking water considered optimal by many, but not all, dentists, poison bodies and brains beginning in the womb, where fluoride exposure is associated with increased rates of learning disabilities in children, and in the bones of the elderly, where decades of consuming optimally fluoridated water is associated with increased fractures. In other words, fluoridation policy poisons us womb to tomb. But tonight, I want to focus on leadership and integrity. I know some of you councilors are not seeking re-election, and some of you were not in office when I and a group of residents attempted to have fluoridation discussions in 2018, 2019. But some of you were here, and all of you sought this leadership position. I also know that several of you sitting here today engaged in unethical and outrageously inappropriate bullying in an attempt to suppress the truth and
Karen, we can't say stuff like that with the council. So just so you know, you can't have anything derogatory toward any complaints or individual performances.
Okay, let me skip ahead.
All right.
A little bit here. There were emails from me forwarded to out-of-town fluoridation lobbyists who issued veiled threats against me regarding personal lawsuits if I persisted in reaching out to my city councilors. money carpetbaggers attacks on local senior citizens who present her city council with scientific references is not leadership. Let me skip a little. Let me,
Karen,
okay, I'm going to the end. I'm going to the end.
is
I'm going-
this, did you call in to bash us? Because this isn't
No,
proper.
I'm going to the end.
All right.
I
thank you.
suspect some of you think you can protect your family with water filters. Let me disabuse you of that notion. Despite claims to the contrary, water filters are woefully inadequate in removing enough fluoride from drinking water to make it safe for pregnant women and young children, the elderly, and anyone with thyroid, kidney, or autoimmune disease. Moreover, any food prepared with tap water is contaminated with fluoride. Many fluoride-poisoned children will require SPED services because of the damage done to their brains, permanent damage. Many adults with chronic illnesses have the quality of their lives degraded. Many older people find their bones fracture easily, all of which is a financial drain on the city of Gloucester, over which the city has no control unless it seeks a home rule exemption to Chapter 111, Section 8C, the Mass Fluoridation Law. This doesn't end fluoridation. It only gives the city control over fluoridation policy. I suggest that before the city council, this council leaves office, it at least does that one thing: petition the state for home rule over fluoridation. And I will send you a document with a list of the full citations and links to the science, to this science that I've referenced and other science for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. All right, is there anybody else that would like to speak under oral communications? If you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9. And if you are watching on a device, there is a raised hand button. All right, this is perfect timing because I was going to announce our school committee member, Kathy Clancy, and she's actually here to speak under oral communications. Kathy, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you, Steve. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to give you a huge voice of support for all that you have done to help us get to the point with this new school. I know some of you will not be continuing on the council, but each and every one of your support and your leadership on this particular issue has been instrumental in moving this along and being really in an exciting place. I know some teachers were in Veterans today setting up for for their new school, and they could not have been more thrilled to be on at this point. So along the way, I thank you for your thoughtful questions, for your persistence in making sure everything was done properly and transparently in terms of keeping the community informed. And I just wanted to say thank you, and we're all excited that we're now at, this continues to move along in a great way.
Thank you, Kathy. All right, is there anybody else that would like to speak under oral communications? Press *9 if you're calling in on a phone, or you raise your hand. There is a button to request to speak. All right, seeing none. I know we normally don't debate, but I'd like to speak to Karen. Karen, I admire your passion and what you do. So keep up the good fight. Unfortunately, some of us agree, some of us don't agree with not with what you're doing with anything all the time. So just let's agree to disagree sometimes and still be civil to each other, regardless of what it is. It could be anything, but I admire your passion. Keep up what you're doing and don't give up. That's all. All right, Madam Clerk, so we have the next order of business, please.
Next order of business is the consent agenda.
All right, so we do have a consent agenda and a unanimous consent agenda. Is there anybody that would like to remove anything from the consent agenda? All right, I would like to remove the reappointment for Jerry Oppenheim. I don't want to remove it. I just want to recognize him for his leadership on the EDIC and his many years of service. I think during the consent agenda moving forward, if we do have reappointments, we should recognize them in their duties that they've done over the years. So moving forward with this council and hopefully the next council will be able to recognize these people because they don't come before us this evening. They're on the consent agenda, so they kind of get overlooked. But Jerry's been on the BDIC for quite a while and he's done an amazing job, and he blew us away at O&A last week and he didn't have to. So I just want to recognize Jerry. All right, so I will, oh, Sean?
I would like to remove one thing under the special events permit, request for street closure for a ceremony on Shore Road. I'd like to have more of a moment. I just like the people, if they want to have any questions about closing the road for a private ceremony, if they could reach out to the Planning and Development Committee, Councilor Gilman, or the city clerk to let them know how they feel about the situation, because it is a little bit different from what we'd normally do for a road closure. And it seems tough to close a road for a wedding ceremony. So with that being said, I'd like to just put that out there and remove it, and then we can put it back with information.
All right, Joanne, do we have to vote on that? I'm not too sure with this one. Is this just?
Well, he did remove it. Okay, so you can vote the consent agenda as amended, and then just to vote to
Okay.
refer the special events to P&D on a
Okay.
separate vote.
All right, Sean, you want to move that?
Yes, I'd like to move that.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Councilor Nolan and seconded by Councilor Gilman. Does everybody understand the amendment to the consent agenda? All right, roll call is Councilor Gilman,
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes, Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pat,
Yes.
and Councilor Cox.
Yes.
All right, motion passes on a roll call vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Back to the consent agenda as amended. I will entertain a motion for the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
So moved.
All right, it's been moved by Councilor Gilman, seconded by Councilor Nolan. All right, any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Councilor Gilman,
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes, Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pat,
Yes.
Councilor Cox.
Yes.
Motion passes on a roll call vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed. All right, we do have a consent agenda. Would anybody like to remove anything from the consent agenda? I mean, the unanimous consent agenda, I'm sorry. All right. I will entertain a motion to accept the unanimous consent agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Gilman,
Second. Second.
seconded by Councilor Memhard. All right, everybody understand the consent, unanimous consent agenda? All right, Councilor Gilman, roll call.
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pat,
Yes.
Councilor Cox.
Yes.
Motion passes on a roll call vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
The next order of business is the Budget and Finance Standing Committee report of August 5th.
Thank you. I'd like to hand it over to our Budget and Finance Chair, Councilor Melissa Cox.
I present a consent agenda for your approval. If anybody has any questions about anything on there. Seeing none, I move the consent agenda.
Seconded.
It's been moved by Councilor Cox, seconded by Councilor Memhard. Councilor, roll call, Councilor Gilman,
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pat,
Yes.
and Councilor Cox.
Yes.
All right, motion to accept the consent agenda for Budget and Finance passes on a roll call vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed. All right, good job, everyone. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
The Ordinance Administration Committee report of August 2nd.
All right, our
There's
O and
nothing
A
to
Chair,
report this time.
Councilor Nolan, nothing to report. Thank you. All right, next agenda. Next,
Planning
all
Development Standing Committee report of August 4th.
right, and our P and D Chair, Councilor Gilman.
No items to be brought forward.
All right, thank you, Councilor. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
The scheduled public hearing 2021-024 to amend Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 22, Section 22-265, turning movements generally, and Section 22-159, same between certain hours on certain days regarding Pleasant Street and Smith Street.
All right, so I would like to open the public hearing and ask if there's anybody that would like to speak in favor. If you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9. If you are watching on a device, laptop, or whatever you choose, there is a raise hand button to speak. This is a public hearing. Anybody that would like to speak in favor or in opposition, please raise your hand. All right, seeing none. Madam Clerk, do we have any communications?
There are none.
All right, do we have any councilor questions? Seeing none. All right, I will close the public hearing and call for the committee report. Councilor Nolan.
On a motion by the minutes, Ordinance Administration Committee voted by roll call 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend the City Council amend GCO Chapter 22, Section 22-265, turn-in movements generally. Section 22-159, same between certain hours and certain days. Section 22-270, parking prohibited at all times. And Section 22-283, bus stops and taxi stands regarding Pleasant Street and Smith Street. And I so move.
All right,
Second.
been moved and seconded. Joanne, is that the right?
Yes, so what happened is after the committee voted, we found that section 22-270 prohibited parking at all times and 22-283 bus stops and taxi stands was already amended.
Okay,
So you do not have to vote on those two sections.
okay, perfect. I was just double checking. All right, any councilor discussion on this? It's been moved by Councilor Nolan, seconded by Councilor Gilman. Was that you? Oh,
Yes.
All right, seconded by Councilor Gilman. Any discussion? Councilor Cox?
This is just the same rhythm that we had for the swing space for West Parish. So there will be a few things that are going to be in addition, but the police have said that they will work with the school on temporary signage and everything until we can move forward with some more communication with the residents and the businesses. But there's going to be a couple more adjustments moving forward due to the bump out and the turning radiuses of the bus. In previous years, they didn't need to turn right on to Shepherd, but this year, since it's a vets community, that they will need to turn right. So it's a little bit more than the 20 feet from the intersection. So, but I want to make sure we do that right and through the system with public hearings. So.
All right, thank you, Melissa. And I'm glad you brought that up because it's the same thing we did a few years ago. So,
yep.
Awesome. Thank you. Councilor Pat?
Yeah, just I wanted to thank Councilor Cox for putting this through in this manner, in that obviously this was done the last time the swing space was used at St. Anne, and I want to thank her for involving the public, the residents in the neighborhood as we go forward. So with whatever public hearings that we need to make them aware to work with things. So I want to just to thank her for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Any other councilor questions, comments before we vote? All right, so I'll start the roll call. Councilor Gilman,
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memard,
Yes.
Counselor Nolan,
Yes.
Counselor O'Hara,
Yes.
Counselor Pat,
Yes.
Counselor Cox.
Yes.
Motion passes on a roll call vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed. All right, is there anything further? Should we enact this as an emergency order, seeing that it's so close?
Can
There,
I,
Nope,
Uh,
go ahead.
hold on. I spoke with DPW and the police department. We had another site visit a couple days ago. It's only a 15-day window. So DPW is gonna put up temporary signs until the 30 days. We're between 8 and 10 days short.
Okay.
So I don't think it's necessary for an emergency order, but
Okay. I just didn't want to call the next order of business if somebody wanted to declare. Okay,
somebody can if they want to, but I've worked through the kinks with everybody and I don't think it's necessary.
I appreciate the clarification. Joanne, did you have something to say?
yes, you need a motion to amend the main motion because you need to add the traffic commission recommendations that were not voted on at O and A. So that's why on the template, you have to put the directions plus the times of the turning of the movements and the same between hours.
Sean, do you have that?
It's
you
on
would-
the template that was sent.
Yeah, I have it in front of me.
So-
You want to amend it?
We need to amend section 22-265, turn and movements generally by adding, while school is in session, Pleasant Street in a northerly direction, no left turn onto Smith Street between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 9:15 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. to 3:15 p.m. Then to amend section 22-159, same between certain hours and certain days by adding 4, Pleasant Street, while school is in session, Pleasant Street from a point beginning at the intersection with Prospect Street, westerly side in a northerly direction to Smith Street, no parking between the hours of 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. to 3:15 p.m. 5, Smith Street, while school is in session, Smith Street southerly side from its intersection with Pleasant Street in a westerly direction to Maplewood Avenue, no parking between the hours of 8:30 a.m. to 9:15 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. to the 3:15 p.m. bus pickup and drop off only, and I so move.
Second.
All right, motions to amend has been moved by Counselor Nolan, seconded by Counselor O'Hara. Is there any discussion? Pretty basic and straightforward. Counselor Gilman?
Yeah, I'm happy that the Traffic Commission's recommendation was added in because I think that just puts further clarification to the preciseness of this order. So thank you.
Thank you, Val. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, I will call the roll call for the amendment. Counselor Gilman,
Yes.
Counselor Holmgren,
Yes.
Counselor LeBlanc, yes. Counselor McCarthy,
Yes.
Counselor Memhard.
Yes, step by step in our right direction here.
There you go. Counselor Nolan,
Yes.
Counselor O'Hara,
Yes.
Counselor Pat,
Yes.
Counselor Cox.
Yes.
Motion to amend has passed on a roll call vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed. All right, great job, everyone. School will be in session before we know it. Seems like just they got out of school a couple weeks ago, and it seems like they're going to be back in school in about 2 hours, it seems. But always happy to help the school committee, the school system, and get this thing going in the right direction. And as Counselor Cox says, that there probably will be a little bit of tweaking here and there along the way. All right, Madam Clerk, can we have the next order of business, please?
Next order of business is Counselor's request to the mayor.
All right, I will start off with Counselor Holmgren.
Thank you very much. I don't have any requests to the mayor, but I do just want to reiterate to the public that there is a public hearing that the school committee is holding on the 25th in the evening regarding the reopening of the schools. So if you have any interest in attending that, I would highly encourage it. I'm foggy as to what time exactly, but it's going to be on the city calendar. So please keep a lookout. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Council McCarthy.
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Council Memhard.
I would just like to recognize and thank both the mayor and all the city councilors that were involved. Number one, in recognizing former Councilor Joe Shalino's 30th anniversary at the Weather Vane Shop on Main Street, where there was a ribbon cutting sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce that Joe and the mayor executed very successfully in spite of the rain. And then again, the Fishermen's Wives Memorial later that same Wednesday evening, which was even again, in spite of the weather, a lovely celebration and event with the Illumin Arts program. So thank you all for participating and supporting those.
Thank you, Scott. Councilor Nolan.
I actually don't have a request. I just want to make a statement. Social media could be a blessing and a nightmare. Some recent comments about our Department of Public Works and people not working for a living and hiding behind buildings and not doing their job. It's derogatory and it's not sane or fair. Our Department of Public Works work very hard for you. They're short-staffed and they do a great job. When it's 20 below zero and there's a water break, they're in the hole to make sure you have fresh water. So if you want to run around and say that they're not doing their job because you're upset with a budget constraint, it's not fair to them and their families that you bang them up on social media. Just my 2 cents.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. Councilor O'Hara.
I'm all set. Thank you.
All right. Councilor Pat.
Not a request to the mayor, but first of all, I'd like to echo what Councilor Memhard said, and especially what Councilor Nolan just said. As you said earlier, Mr. President, when we had a member of the public speaking, being derogatory towards people, whether it be here or on social media or anything else, does absolutely nothing to add to our community in any way, at least not in a positive fashion. I wanted to add, since we're now on at the public part, that Councilor Cox had asked about fireworks display and having, no salutes, no sound. And I wanted to just spread what I explained to a couple of you earlier, that this year's Labor Day show, which is going to have somewhere between 1,400 and 1,500 shells, and about 100 of those would have been salutes, that with the only salutes in the entire show display will be limited to 10 to 15 at the very, very end of the finale. And that information will be posted in the newspaper when we get close to that date. But as Councilor Cox is going to reach out, I will also reach out to the veterans community to let them know what's going on. And obviously, for those that are here they can let all their furry friends know that hopefully this will be better for those that are bothered by them.
Thank you, Barry. Councilor Cox.
I just want to add to what Councilor Nolan said earlier. I also saw some derogatory comments for the DPW on Facebook regarding a broken piece of equipment. Instead of trying to add fuel to the fire, reach out to any one of us to get the background on it. It's an insurance issue. We're not allowed to take it down, and it has to remain up until it gets settled. I mean, it's very frustrating to see all the nonsense out there, the speculation, the rumors and everything else carried out over social media, that it's frustrating. I know we are all very protective of the city departments, and it's just a shame that people would rather spread lies and fire than truth. So it's unfortunate. and we see it every day. So hopefully somebody will stop. Thank you.
Well said, Counselor. I agree 100%. Counselor Gilman.
Thank you, Counselor. I have two quick things. First, I just wanted to let the public know and city councilors that the Ennisquam Village Players is hosting a show, an outdoor show this year. And it is called Nothing to Hide. And it was co-produced, co-written by Mary Curtis, who was one of our directors who just passed away less than 2 months ago. And it's pretty fun, and there's still tickets available. You can go on www.ennisquamvillageplayers.org and get your tickets. And tonight we're excited because we have about 70 seniors that are going to watch the dress rehearsal as a complimentary evening to let them experience musical theater in our community. So we're excited. We have about 50 from Rose Baker and 20 from Rockport Council on Aging. And the other thing I wanted to say was I wanted to just do a shout out to Mike Hale, Council Nolan, and Grace Poirier on the betterment policy. I just had my first start to finish betterment for Squam Rock Road. We had the major meeting on Saturday morning with all 19 abutters sitting around an outside circle and going through the very tedious details of the process. And I just wanted to mention that on many occasions, the four folks, the parcel abutters who were leading this commented on how professional Grace Poirier is and how helpful she is in leading this. And also they made similar comments to Mike Hale in terms of his accessibility and his willingness to be there for the folks that have questions and coming up with the estimates. And then finally to Sean Nolan, this was his policy, and it's a good one and it works. And he's been extraordinarily accessible to me when I've needed to call him. So I just wanted to say that. That's it. And thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Val. And I'm sure Grace appreciates it, as you could see through the council, whoever's watching this evening. We know Joanne's a rock star. She does all of our work, but Grace is quietly working in the background without the recognition. And when you had mentioned her name, we all shook our heads in agreement with you, and Grace is awesome. So it's a pleasure working with Grace. I'm sure Joanne will pass this on to her tomorrow morning. And for myself, last but not least, I don't have any requests to the mayor. It was a great bazaar. It was one of the first bazaars that I got to walk around in a very long time. Usually I'm either working or out of town during the bazaar, but I got out for a little bit. I got to meet some of the candidates for election, and got to walk through. I talked to the Cops for Kids and a few other vendors, and stopped by Joe Scialino's shop the other day for the ribbon cutting. And it was nice to see our city alive again. With that being said, if we have nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Moved by everybody and seconded by Councilor Gilman. All right, roll call. Councilor Gilman,
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pett,
Yes.
and Councilor Cox.
Yes.
All right, great job, everyone. Have a good night, and we'll see you soon.
Good night.
Good night.